What's up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi fans can rejoice because after 16 years, we're getting the fourth game. Plus, we have a list of all the games coming to Game Pass this month. In the entertainment world, Funko is trashing over $30 million of their product, and we go over the recently released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem trailer. Remember to stay hydrated out there, and let's jump right into it. For all of our Dragon Ball Z fans, it's finally time for a new Budokai Tenkaichi game. After 16 years since the last game in the series, the official trailer for the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 was revealed at the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour Finals this Sunday. The short teaser showed some older gameplay of previous entries and the text "Get ready for battle. A new Budokai Tenkaichi begins." Then we got a very quick look at Goku transforming into a Super Saiyan Blue form, one of many new forms that have been introduced since the last Budokai game came out. We don't have any information besides that, and we're still waiting to hear what platforms it's coming to or when it will be released. This is the fourth mainline entry, not counting the Shin Budokai spin-offs or the HD collection that came out in 2012. IGN gave Budokai Tenkaichi 3 an 8 back in 2007, and in the final lines of the review, we did talk about how online play wasn't great, but we also said, should online play be fixed, however, or if you're looking for the single largest roster of fighters out there in an experience that's astonishingly true to the anime, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is still a great choice. A word to the wise though, there's always another DBZ game on the way. That last part held true, and we've had plenty of DBZ games since then, but I'm sure a lot of fans are extremely happy to hear this beloved series is finally returning. Speaking of other games that have not had entries in years, rumors of a Counter-Strike 2 have been circulating. Richard Lewis, a notable journalist and caster within the Counter-Strike community, claims to have received evidence that Valve is getting ready to release a new version of Counter-Strike Global Offensive in the near future. This is followed by hints that a beta may arrive as early as this month or in April and has a working title of Counter-Strike 2, which has been in development for some time. According to these sources, Counter-Strike 2 will run on the Source 2 engine, and that move should improve the optimization and graphical fidelity of the game. This will also have 128 tick servers, which will bring CS to Valorant server rate, and matchmaking will be improved in this new version as well. According to the sources, Counter-Strike 2 is about ready to go, but it was unclear on how this would affect CSGO and its ongoing competitive scene. Dota moved to Source 2 previously as Dota 2 Reborn and still kept the original game up, but the two versions eventually merged into one. To further the legitimacy of these sources, Twitter user GabeFollower2 noted that the latest NVIDIA drivers introduced support for the unknown app executables called CSGO2.exe and CS2.exe. GabeFollower2 also says that they have fairly reliable information that Valve has been testing CSGO on Source 2 with the help of third-party QA companies in the US and EU since at least early December. I can't confirm this 100%, but it's decent enough to share. For anyone getting excited that this will be a brand new entry, you might want to temper your expectations. GabeFollower2 also reports this won't be a new game, it won't be Counter-Strike 2, it won't even be a rebrand, just CSGO Source 2, and your skins are fine, they'll be available in the new version. Without any real news, you should definitely take this with a grain of salt and wait for confirmation. This would be pretty huge if true though, since CSGO was released in 2012 and is definitely due for a modernized update. I guess this means I'll have to break out my old CSGO skills again. Just when you think you're out, they pull me back in. Curse you, Gaben. Ahead of its release on March 23rd, Resident Evil 4 Remake has a new website up that features a new ARG with puzzles and riddles for users to solve to recover the US President's daughter, Ashley Graham, codenamed Baby Eagle. This website is called babyeagleismissing.com, and anyone can access this secure agent portal. Upon entering the site, you'll be met with an urgent alert from Agent Green of the Secret Service requesting assistance with the kidnapping of Baby Eagle. You'll then be presented with a series of messages from several agents and have top secret evidence access to help with the case. Obviously, this exercise isn't necessary to complete or play to enjoy Resident Evil 4 Remake, but it's a nice way to build an external backstory for Resident Evil 4, since the kidnapping of the US President's daughter directly leads into the events of the video game where Leon S. Kennedy has to rescue Baby Eagle from a cult in Europe. And just to reiterate, this is not a literal baby eagle. It's a codename for the president's ordinary human daughter. Then again, Resident Evil 4 Remake is adding some side quests, so who knows, maybe that weird merchant will have you rescuing some endangered birds too. Resident Evil 4 Remake comes to PlayStation 5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, and PC later this month, so if you're really craving some Resident Evil action, maybe give this ARG a shot.
March looks like it will be a strong month for Xbox Game Pass. Available today is Guilty Gear Strive, the 2021 fighting game that IGN gave a 9 out of 10. Coming soon on March 16th is the excellent Civilization 6. I'm actually stoked to play this on my Series X because I originally played it on Switch, and while I loved it, when I would get deep into the game, the Switch hardware had a hard time processing everything, and the computer's turns would take forever. Let's see if the Series X can get the computer playing any faster. Coming March 14th is the survival crafting game Valheim. It's been available on PC Game Pass, and now it's coming to consoles. IGN also gave this one a 9 out of 10. On March 9th, we'll get two curious editions, cloud versions of Dead Space 2 and 3. With the excellent Dead Space Remake out now, it's a smart idea to bring the sequels to Game Pass, but I would much rather have them on the console rather than the cloud. On March 21st, Ni no Kuni 2 will be added for both console and PC. So, a pretty solid month with some high-scoring games on offer. Heck, you could just play Civ 6 alone all month long. It's an enormous game. What are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. Moving on, while Hogwarts Legacy has been out for a month on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, it has been delayed once more on PS4 and Xbox One to May 5th. The original April 4th date for PS4 and Xbox One was apparently just not enough time for the team to deliver the, quote, best possible experience. The statement reads, "We are overwhelmed with gratitude for the response to Hogwarts Legacy from fans around the globe. The team is working hard to deliver the best possible experience on all platforms, and we need more time to do this. Hogwarts Legacy will launch for PS4 and Xbox One May 5th, 2023. There was no mention of the Nintendo Switch version in this post, so it appears it is still on track to be released on July 25th. I'll be interested to see how that version runs. Since it was released on February 10th, Hogwarts Legacy has sold over 12 million copies and has become the biggest launch ever for Warner Bros. Games. And finally today, you'll be able to play Redfall with your friends no matter how you're playing, as developer Arcane has confirmed crossplay for all platforms. The official Redfall Twitter account confirmed crossplay between Xbox Series X and S, PC Game Pass, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. The developers also confirmed that crossplay will work on Xbox whether you play the full game or access it through Xbox Game Pass. Crossplay has become a regular occurrence for first-party Xbox games, as we've seen the feature implemented in big releases like Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5. It won't be long before you're able to jump into Redfall with your vampire hunting squad. The game is scheduled to hit Xbox and PC on May 2nd.
The ambitious Bethesda open-world space RPG Starfield has been delayed again today with a release date of September 6th, 2023. This marks the third delay for Starfield, which was originally set to launch on November 11th, 2022, but was delayed to the first half of 2023 and now has been bumped another few months, but at least it has a solid release date again. In a new official launch date trailer, Starfield's game director Todd Howard said, "We have poured ourselves into this game, and even I'm surprised how much we can pour. It is large. We're playing the game all the time," he explained. If you can't wait till this fall to see more of Starfield, there was some good news today. There will also be a Starfield Direct on June 11th, right after the Xbox Games Showcase. Though Microsoft will not have a presence at E3 officially, the publisher will be showing off games and revealing announcements during this next Xbox showcase. Starfield's new release date moves it away from the first half of the year, where it will no longer be competing with the likes of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy XVI, and other well-established franchises. But it does make things a little interesting now that it could potentially go head-to-head with some of the bigger games this fall. Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 has been confirmed to launch this year, and seeing as the first game had a huge success after launching on September 7th of 2018, it stands to reason Sony might try to make Lightning Strike twice. Starfield would obviously make for some stiff competition, but these are very different games for very different audiences, exclusive to different platforms. So, how do you feel about Starfield's delay? Do you think it'll hit its target release date this fall? Let me know in the comments below. After the beta last year testing out Discord voice chat on the PS5, the feature is finally officially here. You can now talk to your friends cross-voice on PC, mobile, or the PS5 or Xbox. So first things first, you have to link your account for PlayStation Network to Discord on Discord settings. This is one of several new features included in a hefty PS5 system update that dropped today. But basically, once you've updated your PS5, signed in, and linked your accounts, you're good to talk to anyone on the platform. The caveat is that you do have to join Discord on mobile in order to transfer it to the PS5, which is the same way the Xbox Discord connection works. So once you're in a voice channel or call, you just have to slide up on the voice controls and see a button that says Join on PlayStation. Tap that button and it'll be transferred to your console. And on console, you can still adjust the volumes of your friends in the call, see the names of the voice channel you're in, and hang up in the call as well. It only took about a year for Discord to come to PS5, but hey, it's here, and now you can chew loudly into your mic for your PC friends. Sea of Thieves is getting its own tabletop board game created by Steam-Forged Games, who makes the Dark Souls, Resident Evil, and Elden Ring tabletop games. The official title is Sea of Thieves Voyage of Legends, and it will let 2 to 4 players compete to upgrade their ships, hire crews, hunt treasure, and sell cargo at outposts as they try to outdo each other and become the pirate lord. Some will call One Piece because that sounds a bit familiar, unless that's just the general goal of pirates. Either way, at least Voyage of Legends won't last an entire lifetime to get through the story. Anyways, Steam-Forged Games co-founder Matt Hart said Sea of Thieves' distinctive art style was a real pleasure to work with, and that, quote, Rare captured pirate magic with their compelling gameplay loop, and that's something we've strived to bring to the board game too. The pirate board game will ship, pun intended, with 10 dice, 24 standee pieces, and 150 cards that will represent everything from player ships to megalodons, skeleton forts, and everything else you might encounter. This will also go straight to retail release without touching Kickstarter with the price tag of $59.95. So if you need a new game for board game night and are a huge fan of Sea of Thieves, this might be the game for you.
The Simpsons hit-and-run lead game designer Joe McGinn has thrown support behind the idea of remaking the beloved GTA for kids. I would love to see it, McGinn told Games Radar about a potential remake of the open-world sandbox game. He certainly isn't alone in his thinking, as he told the outlet that Hit and Run is still the highest-rated Simpsons game ever made, according to Metacritic. The 2003 title was a critical and commercial success, with players praising the game for its brilliant use of the license and its humorous take on Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto franchise. According to McGinn, the game was actually pitched to the publisher Vivendi as GTA for kids. Fans have long called for a remake with a modern interpretation of Springfield. However, Simpsons writer Matt Selman previously explained to IGN that he would love to see a remastered version of Hit and Run, but it would be, quote, a complicated corporate octopus to try to make that happen. The game's original developer, Radical Entertainment, and publisher Vivendi Universal Games have both shut their doors, and it's unclear who now has the game rights for the Simpsons franchise. EA got the rights in 2005, but hasn't released a Simpsons game since Tapped Out in 2007. So fan-made remakes might be the closest we ever get to a true modern remaster. Moving on, fans waited more than 3 years for Sons of the Forest to be released, but speedrunners are racing through the game in fewer than 9 minutes. Benjamin Romero on YouTube published a Sons of the Forest speedrun of just 8 minutes and 45 seconds on February 28th, 5 days after the game launched. Romero's run is in the any percentage normal difficulty category, meaning it's essentially a pure sprint to the end. Finishing in the smallest amount of time possible is the only goal, so players can take advantage of any glitches or exploits present. One exploit in particular is key to Romero's impressive time, as the beginning of the speedrun is spent running up a mountain, jumping off, and falling unconscious before Sons of the Forest's respawn system teleports him to the closest cannibal village. This essentially lets the speedrunner skip a large portion of the game, and alongside some other glitches, including using the crafting menu while falling downhill to avoid taking damage, Romero is able to cross the finish line in a measly 525 seconds. Sons of the Forest is still young, so speedrunners are sure to whittle that time down even more in the future.
With the ongoing FTC investigation with Microsoft's proposal to acquire Activision Blizzard, Microsoft demanded access to various Sony documents to help them build a case. Microsoft subpoenaed documents from Sony to get a look at Sony's own exclusivity deals. A judge from the FTC upheld parts of Microsoft's subpoena of Sony, stating that the nature and extent of SIE's content licensing agreements are relevant to allegations of exclusivity arrangements between video game console developers and video game developers and publishers. Microsoft originally requested access to the last 10 years of exclusivity documents, but Judge Chappelle granted Sony's request to limit those documents of exclusive contracts from January 1st, 2019 to the present. So Microsoft didn't get everything they wanted, but they are getting some access to help them build their argument. Either way, this is a slow, ongoing legal battle between two companies, and we're probably not going to see a resolution soon. But we'll be sure to keep you updated as news drops. Isn't it fun watching two massive video game corporations fight over money and games every day? Never gets old.
It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, Jon Bernthal is returning as the Punisher in Daredevil Born Again, plus millions of dollars worth of Funko products are being hauled to the dump. See you in a bit. Welcome back. The Heroes in a Half Shell are back with Seth Rogen's TMNT Mutant Mayhem. But before we break down the trailer, the company behind Funko Pops have released a statement regarding the trashing of over $30 million worth of product. Let's find out some more on this.
Those Funko toys are going exactly where they belong, the trash. Funko's sending close to $30 million worth of those big-headed, soulless-looking figures to the landfill due to stock remaining unsold, taking up space in its warehouse. Now, the company's best option apparently was to throw it all out. In an earnings call, Funko the Pop Man himself said, quote, inventory at year-end totaled $246.4 million, an increase of 48% compared to a year ago. This includes inventory that the company intends to eliminate in the first half of 2023 to reduce fulfillment costs by managing inventory levels to align with the operating capacity of our distribution center. This is expected to result in a write-down in the first half of 2023 of approximately $30 to $36 million. I don't understand any of that. Anyways, this shouldn't come as a surprise. The company has been shoveling these movie and TV themed Funko Pops since 1998. They all look the same too. Some of them have mouths, the ones that don't look weird, and the craze of collecting these minifigures has since died down. I don't see anyone talking about these things. In fact, if it wasn't for my previous subscription to Loot Crate, y'all remember Loot Crate back in the day, I honestly wouldn't own a single one of these things. But the ones that I do own, low-key, they're pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. But it's just crazy that the company's distribution center was so damn full that Funko had to rent shipping containers to store the excess bobbleheads. Now that's when you know you're overproducing beyond the demand for the product. Like at this point, there's nothing the company is doing to innovate its figures. So of course, there's not going to be as many people searching for them. And some might be thinking that instead of, throwing these figures away, why not sell them at a fraction of the cost? Well, if Funko did that, then no one would want to pay full price for a single Funko Pop figure ever again. So just screw over the planet and, throw them away. Throw a bunch of plastic away. Yeah, that's good for the planet, right? Yeah. Ugh, ridiculous. Anyways, what do y'all think about this? And how many Funko Pop toys do y'all own? Are you tired of these yet? And why hasn't it gone the way of the Beanie Baby craze? If you remember those, you might remember how popular they were back in the mid to late 90s. Now they're a dime a dozen, practically worthless. Now let's talk about Funko's waste here in the comment section down below. Now what's not a waste is the upcoming Dead by Daylight movie coming from Blumhouse and Atomic Monster. Now based on the multiplayer asymmetrical horror game, the movie will supposedly be an expansion of the universe established in the Dead by Daylight game. Now the production team is currently in search of a director and screenwriter. Now Blumhouse seems to be on a horror video game adaptation kick with this and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie adaptation the studio is working on. Now the Dead by Daylight video game is a unique franchise which typically has DLC related to iconic horror icons such as Pinhead from Hellraiser or Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Now Blumhouse will obviously run into licensing issues with those particular characters, so probably safe to stick with the original Dead by Daylight villains. Exciting news for fans of the horror game. And if you're a Pokemon fan, odds are you're pretty excited about Detective Pikachu 2. Now, well, it appears we may have found the film's director in Portlandia and Basket's co-creator, Jonathan Crystal. Now, Legendary Entertainment has confirmed with us here at IGN that he's in talks to direct the film, which fans have been waiting for since the first movie was released back in 2019. Now, not much more is known about the film, but it's clearly in development and we'll keep you updated as more news is released. Right now, the Turtles are back in theaters with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, with its unique animation style, fans are undoubtedly comparing it to Sony's Spider-Verse series of films, which could quite possibly be Paramount's answer to that particular franchise. Now, with the large amount of TMNT movies and shows, both live action and animated, the film studio has ample runway to explore a multiverse of mutation with the Teenage Turtles. And they've done so many times in the past. Now, with the Nickelodeon TMNT run, the Turtles met their OG selves in an episode entitled Trans-Dimensional Turtles.
They're us? No way!
And the brothers have traveled back and forth through time countless times, so there's already a precedent set for them to both interact with various different versions of themselves and travel through other dimensions. Now, hopefully, with this reboot of the franchise on the big screen, we'll slowly start to see these kinds of ideas develop. For now, we'll see the four go up against a mysterious crime syndicate as well as an army of mutants that have been unleashed in the streets of New York. And yes, Bebop and Rocksteady are part of that army of mutants. Now, the Michael Bay produced TMNT live action movies kind of fizzled out that particular reboot attempt with Out of the Shadows, trying to course correct the mistakes of the first film by adding a bunch of fan favorite TMNT characters. It unfortunately just didn't work, and fans of the TMNT series were left with Nickelodeon's various attempts at an animated series since then. Now that we have the upcoming Mutant Mayhem film to look forward to come August 4th, perhaps we'll see the TMNT universe kind of grow a tad bit more and expand into different territories. Like, it'd be really nice to see an exploration of the Last Ronin comic series on the big screen at some point. Like, for those unfamiliar, the Last Ronin sees a futuristic New York City where Michelangelo is the last surviving member of the Turtle family. Now, he sets out to avenge their deaths. And quite recently, co-creator Kevin Eastman teased The Last Ronin 2, which is a prequel and sequel of sorts that shows Mikey trying to find purpose in life after the loss of his family, and the next generation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tasked to take over from the first generation of mutated heroes. Now, the Roninverse is a vastly different take on the TMNT franchise, giving fans a glimpse at what would happen if the Teenage Turtles aged into adulthood. Now, regardless of what's in store for us come August 4th, Turtle Power is in full-on swing. Are you excited for the upcoming movie? Do you have plans on picking up The Last Ronin 2? Comment down below and let's talk about our love of turtles. And as a turtle treat for you, you can watch the full trailer at the end of this video. All right, now in other news, Demon Slayer to the Swordsmith Village made $10.1 million at the weekend box office domestically. Now, that landed the film in 4th place this weekend, which is surprising given that it was essentially just 2 episodes from season 2 and the first episode of season 3 strung together. Now, some fans were upset as episodes 10 and 11 of the Entertainment District arc have been available on streaming for months, and the newest episode was roughly 28 minutes in length. Now, compared to 2021's Mugen Train in theaters, To the Swordsmith Village wasn't exactly a theatrical experience. But if you're a fan of the anime and don't mind seeing 2 episodes you've already seen, it's still a fun time. Now, speaking of fun times, the animated families of Fox reunite in this latest clip from season 21 of Family Guy. Now, Peter Griffin finds himself being bored by Lois, so he backs up just a little too far, encroaching on Bob's Burgers territory. Take a look.
Oh, and we had cats for some reason.
Uh-huh. Yep, I backed up all the way into the show before us. Wife talking about her dream.
Homer, you've got company.
Why are there 2 sets of prices?
One's the Emmy winner discount.
Black coffee and toast, please.
It's nice to see Homer and Peter reunited in a crossover again. Although Homer was pretty quiet, it's always great seeing these families cross paths for a visual gag. All right, now with Jon Bernthal set to reprise his role as the Punisher in the upcoming Daredevil Born Again series, the question on everyone's mind is, what does a Disney plus Frank Castle variant look like? Now, Bernthal delivered quite the performance as the killer vigilante on Netflix's Daredevil and 2 seasons of the Punisher spinoff, but with Disney's family-friendly prestige, it's hard to fathom how it'll make the Marvel character work in this new series. Now, Disney Plus tends to lean on the PG-13 side of things, shuffling its mature content over to Hulu. Now, we here at IGN did a very exhaustive comparison of the Marvel Netflix shows that got ported over to Disney Plus to see if any of them got censored for mature content, and they didn't. Now, Disney Plus does, however, age-gate mature content on its platform unless you opt out. Now, Disney seems more concerned with content in their newer series. Now, you might also remember there were a few scenes Disney altered post-release from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, one to tone down the bloody look of a dead body, and another where Bucky impaled a thug with a pipe. Now, those 2 scenes were altered to be less gory. But with a character like the Punisher, it'll be kind of hard not to lean on his gruesome ways of serving up justice, like that one time he ran over Wolverine with a steamroller, or when he kicked a limbless woman into a house fire. Jeez, this guy's freaking insane. Now, they'll likely have to be more inventive and less gruesome when having Frank Castle eliminate his enemies this time around. But do we think the Punisher can work on Disney Plus? Did you ever think you'd hear those words? The Punisher on Disney Plus. Seems weird even saying that, almost as if it's a Simpsons gag. But we'll have to wait and see what it'll look like when Daredevil Born Again drops on Disney Plus sometime in 2024. Now, speaking of things Disney is dropping, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie apparently got dropped by the House of Mouse. Now, according to Variety, the Star Wars film is no longer in active development, so it's looking like we won't be expecting it in December of this year after all. Now that goes double for the Star Wars movie Kevin Feige had been producing, which has also been shelved. But apparently we do have another Star Wars project to look forward to. This one coming from director Taika Waititi. And per usual, the famed director will be writing himself a role in his Star Wars story. And finally, Keanu Reeves revealed a pretty cool dream of his during his Reddit AMA. The John Wick actor was asked if there was any role he regretted turning down, and he said no, but that he's always wanted to play Wolverine. Now that's good to hear, bub, but you might want to take that up with Hugh Jackman. Now with the announcement of him reprising his role in the upcoming Deadpool sequel, I think we're fine with who we got already. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe is vast and full of so many different types of heroes and villains. I'm pretty sure Feige can find you a suitable role in the MCU. He's got plenty of free time now that his Star Wars movie has been dropped. That wasn't a burn, Feige. Don't come after me, please.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.